Have you ever found yourself wrestling with that subtle, persistent feeling that you could be
Yeah.
more?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you're just curious about how to unlock your full potential. But, the sheer volume of self-help advice out there feels less like guidance and more like a tsunami of information.
It's a challenge so many of us face, isn't it? We crave those aha moments, those shortcuts to being, truly well informed without getting completely bogged down by it all.
Absolutely. And that's precisely why we've plunged into the self-improvement handbook for this deep dive.
Okay.
This isn't just another book. It promises, and this is a quote, the art and science of success distilled into one simple but powerful life-changing guide.
Wow, that's quite a claim.
It is. So our mission today is to kind of cut through the noise, extract the most impactful nuggets, and really arm you with insights that make a difference in understanding personal growth.
What's really striking right from the outset, I think, is how this handbook frames self-improvement. It doesn't just present it as a nice to have or, a personal hobby.
Right.
It positions it as a direct, undeniable pathway to success, almost like a fundamental cause and effect thing.
That's a powerful way to put it, seeing self-improvement as foundational to success.
Yeah.
So how does this guide suggest we even begin that journey?
It opens with a rather profound idea
Which is?
that everything that happens to us, no matter how painful it might seem, happens for a purpose.
Hmm.
And that means even our failures, our heartaches, our embarrassments, they're not just experiences to endure. They're actually intended to be treated as teachers and tools.
It's a radical reframing, isn't it?
Hmm.
Instead of viewing setbacks as purely negative, this guide asks us to see them as like raw material for growth. It even highlights the story of Hunter Patch Adams.
Ah, Patch Adams, the
Yeah.
doctor.
It's a powerful illustration of this.
His story is quite something. I mean, he failed his board exams, spiraled into a deep depression, even admitted himself to a psychiatric ward.
But it was there, during his time there, among people suffering, that he had this incredible breakthrough. He realized that despite all his personal pain and, perceived failure, he still passionately wanted to be a doctor.
And this realization, which seems simple on the surface, coupled with a deliberate choice to maintain a positive attitude, that really became a catalyst.
Yeah.
It didn't just lead to his own self-improvement, but to a profound success that impacted, well, not just his patients, but as the handbook says, even elevated the quality of life in general.
Wow.
He became, in its words, the best damn doctor his country has ever known. It really shows how transforming your perspective can unlock huge potential.
So, okay, if that's the transformative power of a single mindset shift, what are some of the other actionable insights this guide offers, for making self-improvement truly tie into success?
Well, one of the most foundational tips, and maybe surprisingly one of the hardest, is confronting that inner voice, the one that tells you you're a failure. It states it simply, stop thinking and feeling like a failure because you're not.
Easier said than done sometimes.
Oh, definitely. But it's not just positive thinking. It's about recognizing that self-acceptance is the absolute bedrock of all growth. Why is that so crucial, you think?
Well, it's the groundwork, truly.
Yeah.
If you can't accept yourself, how can you build anything lasting?
Exactly. And crucially, the guide immediately clarifies that this isn't about trying to look like the, hunks and models on TV.
Right.
It insists we concentrate on inner beauty, which provides a far more stable and enduring foundation for self-worth.
That makes so much sense. It feels less about chasing some external thing and more about cultivating an internal state.
Precisely.
And here's another really counterintuitive piece of advice it gives. When people around you are feeling down, right, the instinct might be to empathize so deeply that you get pulled into their negativity.
Yeah, you want to connect.
But this guide advises the opposite. Help them move up. Don't go down with them or you'll both end up feeling worse. It's about maintaining your own positive energy and then using that to genuinely lift others.
Exactly. It's about being an anchor, not another drifting boat. And it extends this idea to how we view the world itself.
Now so.
It says, view it as a large room for lessons, not mistakes.
Oh, I like that.
So that failed science quiz you mentioned, not doom. It's just a lesson, a stepping stone for self-improvement. It really reframes how we interpret everyday challenges.
Lessons, not mistakes.
Yeah,
That immediately shifts the emotional weight, doesn't it?
totally.
And this guide powerfully stresses that self-improvement is a one-day-at-a-time process. You can't expect instant change,
No overnight magic.
right? This consistent daily effort is what ultimately leads to inner stability, personality development, and success, all stemming from self-confidence, self-appreciation, and self-esteem. Sounds like a compounding effect.
It absolutely is. And it's about setting meaningful and achievable goals that truly aim for an improved and better you, not some replica of someone else you admire. That personal authenticity is key.
And it offers such a simple yet profound reminder that little things mean big to other people. A genuine compliment about someone's tie, a warm good day, greeting these small acts of appreciation can have a huge impact.
Definitely.
But it also gives us a dose of reality. When you're truly ready for self-improvement, not everyone else in your life will be ready to join you.
That's a crucial point. People have different values, and that's okay.
Yeah. It reinforces the idea that there's no such thing as overnight success. True growth is gradual, and a huge part of it is appreciating what you currently have, recognizing that those things were once, distant wishes.
Which brings us to a wonderful classic quote that this handbook echoes. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Ah, yes.
It reminds us that our parents, teachers, friends, colleagues, they are all our teachers. Learning truly comes from everyone around us if we're open to it.
Okay, so if that's the how of self-improvement, let's explore the why. Why is it so fundamentally important? This guide delves into a universal feeling many of us can relate to. I wish I was somebody else.
Oh yeah, that comparison trap.
It's true. We so often believe others are somehow inherently better or more put together than us. But this guide powerfully states that, in reality, most people are actually more scared or insecure than we might imagine.
Hmm.
It shares some really insightful examples to illustrate this, which I think will resonate with you.
Like what?
Well, think about the eye-catching girl at a party, maybe sipping her drink, appearing perfectly calm and confident.
Oh, okay.
But if you could peer into her mind, you might find her consumed by worries about being alone, or maybe disliking her skinny ankles, perhaps even wishing she were as smart as her best friend.
Right. Or the young business entrepreneur who, from the outside, seems to have it all, the success, the confidence.
Exactly.
Yet he secretly hates his big eyes or is constantly worrying about his parents working things out. It's a profound irony, isn't it?
It really is.
We suffer from low self-esteem because we're often enveloped in this quiet desperation, comparing ourselves to others who are themselves battling their own internal insecurities.
It's a powerful mirror. And sometimes we're the very last people to notice our own irritating habits. Things like biting nails, maybe a foul mouth, or talking way too much.
Mm-hmm.
The guide shares a particularly poignant story about a friend who never gets tired of talking. She was apparently so engrossed in the sound of her own voice that she didn't even notice her friends actively avoiding her,
Ouch.
eventually becoming, as the handbook describes it, socially handicapped.
That's a tough lesson. And it raises a really important question. How do we even become aware of these blind spots in ourselves?
Oh, question.
This guide's key, surprisingly straightforward, is open communication. It strongly advises us to listen and talk to a trusted friend.
Okay.
Ask direct questions like, hey, do I always sound so argumentative, or whatever it might be?
And the crucial next step is to truly be open-minded to their criticism, right? Not to immediately jump back with, well, that's just the way I am.
Exactly. And in return, it encourages you to offer constructive feedback to help your friend, creating this kind of cycle of mutual growth.
This all ties back to a really profound core message: self-love. The guide even quotes Whitney Houston, "Learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all."
Powerful.
It argues that you cannot genuinely give what you do not have. You must cultivate that love and acceptance for yourself before you can truly love others or inspire positive change around you.
So the message is clear. Stop comparing yourself to others.
Yeah.
Accepting your true self is the foundational step. Self-improvement and self-love aren't about shouting your perfection to the world, but about cultivating acceptance and contentment within yourself.
Okay, so once you begin to embrace that self-acceptance, the next crucial step is actively building your self-esteem. And this guide uses a really vivid analogy here.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine yourself as a dartboard.
Okay. Dartboard. And everything and everyone else around you can unfortunately become dart pins that can directly impact or even, destroy your self-esteem.
Right, so the key then is to identify and learn to avoid these negative influences. It lists several specific dart pins to watch out for.
Let's hear them.
First up, a negative work environment.
That's a big one.
We're talking about that dog-eat-dog competition where no one truly appreciates your contributions. Healthy competition can be good. A toxic, cutthroat environment is entirely different. It just drains you.
That's so true. A truly draining workplace can erode confidence faster than almost anything. Okay, what's the next dart pin?
other people's behavior. And this guide doesn't pull any punches, listing a whole rogues gallery of personalities to steer clear of.
Bit like?
Bulldozers, brown-nosers, gossip-mongers, whiners, backstabbers, snipers, people walking wounded, controllers, naggers, complainers, exploders, patronizers, sluffers.
Wow, that's quite a list. Basically steer clear of the drama.
Pretty much. These types, it warns, create bad vibes that directly impact your self-esteem.
A powerful reminder to guard your energy. Okay, number 3.
The third dart pin is changing environment.
Ah, change. Always tricky.
Yeah, change is inherently difficult and it causes stress, but it's also constant. And critically, it's a necessary catalyst for improvement. We must be susceptible to it, seeing it not just as an obstacle, but as an opportunity.
Then there's past experience. This guide suggests it's okay to acknowledge the pain from past failures, but the danger is letting that pain transform into fear that paralyzes you.
Right.
Instead, treat each failure and mistake as a powerful lesson learned. Easier said than done, but essential.
Definitely. And fifth, a negative worldview. This is about more than just optimism. It's a proactive choice. Don't wrap yourself up in all the world's negativities.
Yeah.
Building self-esteem requires learning to make the best out of worse situations.
And the 6th dart pin challenges what the guide calls determination theory.
Okay, what's that?
This is the idea that your traits are solely determined by genetics, your upbringing, or your environment, essentially. That you're stuck being who you are.
The I can't help it excuse.
Exactly. This guide firmly counters that, stating that building self-esteem and drawing lines for self-improvement is a choice, not a rule or a talent. That's a truly liberating idea, I think.
It fundamentally empowers you, doesn't it? It emphasizes that being positive is a choice. And self-change is described as a kind of bulletproof armor.
Bulletproof armor. I like that.
Yeah, that comes voluntarily from within, profoundly altering our attitude, behavior, and way of thinking.
So if being positive is a choice, how do we start putting up these building blocks of self-esteem? This guide summarizes it clearly and simply.
How?
Be positive, be contented and happy, be appreciative, never miss an opportunity to compliment. It calls a positive way of living the essential starter guide.
Simple but powerful.
Mm.
Okay, moving beyond the purely personal, this guy takes us into a really interesting dimension. Spiritual growth. The spiritual challenge of modern times.
Ooh.
It describes spiritual growth as a Herculean task in our modern world. Saturated as it is with material distractions like electronic gadgets and endless entertainment.
It certainly feels like that sometimes. It discusses the delicate balance required between our material and spiritual lives, and then outlines 4 powerful pillars for achieving spiritual growth.
What's the first one?
The first is to look inward, or introspection.
Okay.
This means going beyond the surface of daily events, reflecting deeply on your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and motivations.
So not just thinking about what happened, but why you felt a certain way.
Exactly. It's about gaining insights into your deeper life goals and critically identifying which traits to sustain and which to maybe discard. The guide's pointers for introspection are be objective, be forgiving of yourself, and always, always focus on areas for improvement. It sounds like a constant, gentle self-assessment.
Right, like a continuous check-in. Okay, pillar number 2.
The second pillar is to develop your potentials. And this is where things get really fascinating as the guide explores different perspectives.
How so?
For example, it notes that religion often sees humans primarily as spiritual beings, while science might view spirit as more of a dimension of human experience.
Interesting distinction.
What's intriguing is how both Christian and Islamic teachings, for instance, emphasize mastery of self, prioritizing the needs of the spirit over the body, using beliefs, values, and morality as a kind of blueprint.
And then you have psychological frameworks like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right?
Yeah.
Which include self-actualization and even self-transcendence.
Precisely. What the guide highlights is that while the paths might look different, there's a common thread of developing human potential. The core distinction it points out, though, is the end goal.
Ah.
Many religions see self-development as a means to serving a higher power, whereas some psychological theories view it more as an end in itself. What's important here is just understanding these different viewpoints impartially.
Yeah, that impartial presentation is really key for our deep dive. Okay, pillar 3.
The third pillar is to search for meaning. Religions like Christianity, Judaism, and Islam often believe human purpose is to serve a creator. Some psychological theories, on the other hand, suggest we actively create our own meaning.
So different sources of meaning.
Right. But regardless of the perspective, the guide argues that true growth means realizing we don't just passively exist. It's about actively gaining wisdom from interactions and situations, critically rejecting or affirming beliefs as we strive to find our purpose.
Makes sense. And the final pillar.
And finally, to recognize interconnections. This concept of relatedness is explored from multiple angles.
Right.
Religions often stress our deep connection to all creation, referring to others as brothers and sisters, and our inherent connection to a higher being. Science, through evolution theory and ecology, also highlights the intricate interaction of all living and non-living things.
And psychology.
Psychology, with Maslow's concept of self-transcendence, similarly echoes this sense of universal connectedness.
And the impact of recognizing these interconnections is profound, I imagine.
Huge. This guide says it leads directly to humility, respect, appreciation, and moves us to reach out to other people and become stewards of all other things. Ultimately, spiritual growth is presented as a day-to-day encounter of winning and losing, but always, always learning. It's a continuous journey, not a destination you just arrive at.
Okay, so we've talked about purpose, values, self-esteem, even spiritual growth. But what's the fundamental engine that drives all of this?
The fuel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This guide dedicates an entire section to motivation, the heart of self-improvement.
Makes sense. You need that drive.
It makes a compelling case that pain often serves as an unexpected yet powerful catalyst for change.
The wake-up call.
Right.
Yeah.
Bad grades make us study harder. Crippling debts push us to seek new income. Even humiliation can give us that vital push to finally speak up or change our ways.
But beyond pain, it notes that inspiration can also come from other places, right? Like a friend's tragic story, a great movie, or an inspiring book.
Yeah, positive motivators too. And what's truly comprehensive here is that the guide offers an A to Z of motivation. Like literally A to Z.
Usually, the whole alphabet.
Yep. Instead of listing them all, let's pick out a few that really stand out.
Okay, hit me.
Under A, it's not just about achieving your dreams, but also avoiding negative people, even quoting Eleanor Roosevelt. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. That pairing is impactful, isn't it?
It really is. Avoiding negativity is as crucial as pursuing the positive. Okay, what else?
How about D? Don't give in, don't give up. It uses the powerful example of Thomas Edison,
The light bulb guy.
who famously failed more than thrice, which
Yeah.
is a bit of an understatement. It was thousands of times for perfecting it. It's not about perfection first time, but persistence.
Exactly. Persistence over perfection. I like E. Enjoy.
What does that say?
Work as if you don't need money. Dance as if nobody's watching. Love as if you never cried. Learn as if you'll live forever.
Wow, that's a whole philosophy.
It encapsulates a holistic, joyful approach to life that often fuels the deepest motivation. This isn't just about grinding, it's about finding joy in the process itself.
Such a powerful way to live.
Yeah.
And skipping ahead, for T, take control of your life. Agency. This guide directly links discipline and self-control to motivation and self-improvement, emphasizing that taking agency over your life is a huge motivator in itself.
And V is all about visualization. Motivation without vision is like a boat on a dry land. Really underscores the need for a clear picture of where you're headed.
Absolutely. You need that destination. And finally, Z. Zero in on your dreams and go for it.
Nice.
It's that focused, intentional action that truly propels us forward.
That's a powerhouse of actionable motivation right there.
Yeah,
But okay, how do we actually unlock this self-improvement power? How do we tap into it?
good question. This guide uses another great analogy.
Yeah.
Imagine a painting.
Okay.
You can't truly appreciate it if it's like an inch from your face. You need distance for a clearer vision.
And similarly, the guide observes, we often only truly realize the crucial need for self-improvement when things are already pretty dire.
Which brings us to what it calls the frog principle.
The frog in the pot. A classic.
Exactly. Frog A jumps out of boiling water immediately.
Yeah.
But frog B, placed in lukewarm water that slowly heats up, adjusts.
Until it's tragically too late. The human parallel is stark, isn't it?
It absolutely is. The guide provides the relatable, if slightly harsh example of Anna.
What happens to Anna?
Her friends tell her Carl hates her, then Patrick, then Kim and John. But Anna stays the same, ignoring every piece of feedback.
Oh, dear.
Until, as the guide describes, the entire community hates her, before she finally realizes the importance of self-improvement. It's a sobering illustration of how pain often serves as our ultimate wake-up call.
It's a painful but often necessary lesson. We so often change our diet only when our clothes don't fit, right?
Or stop smoking when our lungs go bad, or only start praying when death feels imminent. This guide states, it is not easy to change, but change becomes more painful when we ignore it.
That really hits home.
And it powerfully concludes that truly happy people don't just accept change, they actually embrace it.
That's a crucial distinction, embracing, not just enduring. And part of that embrace means breaking those self-limiting beliefs, like that common poor excuse of, it's just the way I am. This guide shares the story of Jen, who grew up constantly hearing her family say she doesn't have the guts to be around groups of people.
And she believed it.
She believed it, and she lived it. She avoided groups, felt anxious.
What's so poignant about Jen's story, and what this guide wants us all to realize, is that she is not what she is in her story.
Ah, powerful.
It's about taking that inner spirit and showing the world, hey, I'm an important person and I should be treated accordingly. It's about rewriting your own narrative.
And the ultimate takeaway, the guide emphasizes that truly enjoying the process of self-improvement, whether it's hitting the gym, devouring books, or stepping out to socialize, leads to taking things more lightly and ultimately finding genuine happiness in the journey itself.
Love that. And to help you start on that journey, this guide provides something really practical. A crash course 7-day program to self-improvement.
Oh, nice. A concrete plan.
Exactly. It's a brilliant starter guide, emphasizing that self-improvement isn't always confined to some formal setting. It can begin today, right where you are.
Okay, let's break it down. Day 1, know your purpose.
Right. This involves identifying your life purpose or mission statement. Think of it as your unique compass, guiding you towards your true north.
On day 2, know your values. List your top 5 core values, maybe things like security, freedom, family, spiritual development, learning.
And then critically, align your goals with them. If a goal doesn't resonate with your core values, this guide suggests you maybe reconsider it. Makes sense.
For day 3, know your needs. List your top 4 unmet needs. Are they acknowledgement, control, perhaps love? Identifying and addressing these needs is vital for living authentically.
Then day 4, know your passions. This is about giving yourself permission to express yourself fully and honoring those who've inspired you. Don't let self-doubt block your path.
On day 5, live from the inside out. This pillar encourages increasing your inner wisdom through things like silence, spending time in nature, or listening to calming music.
Yeah, like maybe some classical music in a dimly lit room. It's about cultivating your inner landscape.
For day 6, honor your strengths. List 3 positive traits or talents you possess. And hey, if you're stuck, ask loved ones for help.
Good idea.
They might see you as imaginative, witty, or simply good with your hands. Sharing these strengths is a powerful way to build self-confidence.
And finally, day 7, serve others.
Ah, looking outwards.
Exactly. This is about developing an interconnected sense of being by sharing your authentic self and your unique talents with the world. This guide highlights that the rewards of helping strangers, in particular, can be incredibly profound and unexpectedly fulfilling.
That's a great framework to get started.
It really is. This handbook closes with a selection of inspirational quotes, and one really encapsulates so much of what we've discussed today.
Which one?
The talent for being happy is appreciating and liking what you have instead of what you don't have.
Simple, but deep. It's a powerful reminder that contentment isn't really about acquisition, it's about perspective.
Exactly. What this deep dive into the Self-Improvement Handbook truly shows us is that personal growth isn't just about fixing perceived flaws. It's this holistic, transformative journey.
Yeah, it's about reframing failures into powerful tools, building robust self-esteem from within, engaging in that spiritual introspection, fueling ourselves with motivation.
And crucially, embracing change proactively, not just reacting to it.
This deep dive has offered you, the listener, a real shortcut to being well-informed about personal growth, hopefully providing actionable insights for your own unique journey.
Yeah, from recognizing those universal insecurities we all share, to building unbreakable self-esteem, understanding the different paths for spiritual growth, and identifying the crucial role motivation plays.
So if this journey of self-improvement is indeed a choice, one that unfolds one day at a time, maybe the question to leave you with is this.
What's that?
What small, intentional step will you take today to uncover the next piece of wisdom that's waiting to be your teacher?